and good morning. I was waiting to see the light come on. Good morning. How was your weekend? Oh my goodness, it is October the 3rd. No, 2nd, October 2nd. Okay, I'm just in awe of the fact that time is going so quickly. I'm almost having to take a breath this morning. I did a lot this weekend. How about you? What did you do? I did Saturday. Let's see, Friday night I did the many faces of Tina Turner. Put on mine, Miss Celestine Lewis, and it was good. I have some few pictures on Facebook if you wanted to see. Actually, I did a couple of videos. It was going too fast for me to try to snap all the pictures, but it was really good. It was hosted by Sue Strong and narrated by Robin Richard. It was really, really good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Great singing. These young people that were doing the dancing were just out of this world. They were very, very good. So I did that on Friday night, and then Saturday I did the actually Saturday I rested a little bit because I did some stuff in the afternoon with my daughter. We ran around and did some stuff, and that was fun because she likes to hang out with her mother every now and then. So we did that on Saturday. And then yesterday, I got up. I went to church, and church was really good. Greater Little Rock Baptist Church. And then after church, we did. I did the Alzheimer's walk, and it was really good. Our Rotary Club was there, and we had a good turnout from the Rotary members. I think there were a total of 12 of us, plus some people brought their spouses, so it was really a lot of help, a lot of support. And I think we raised $1,500 for the event, collectively as Rotarians. We could have probably done more had we gotten out ahead of it a little bit further, but some of our Rotary clubs have so many things going on, we can't always get on top of that. Good morning, Joan. How are you doing? Good to see you in this space. I was just telling them that I did the Rotary yesterday. I'm going to put some more pictures on in a little bit, but we're trying to also put it on our Subwest Rotary page, and so I have people working on that for me. Thank you, Audrey, if you're listening. And then also I'm going to put on something once I finish with our session this morning. But I woke up this morning and I was just looking at so many things on TV. We're dealing with the issue of judge. Who judges us? Who do we judge? How often do we do it? And we don't realize that we are judges. We put ourselves in those seats every single day, without the robe, without the gavel. Yet and still, we still may come down with a sentence for somebody. It may be lifelong that we don't feel we have any respect for what they do, or it may be that it's temporary, or it may be that it's just, sealed for 5 years. We don't even know how we get in those predicaments. But I think as others judge us, we judge. I don't care who we are. Even when we make a decision about what we're going to do, there's a judgment to it. We've made a clear decision to do certain things, and there's judgment in that. And so I thought of this morning, I found a reading that I really, really liked and thought it was good. And it's anonymous. I don't know. It just says you can share the poem. So there's not anybody's name. It said at the bottom of it, it does says every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. Now it's your turn to share the poem. So they actually are giving you permission to share who this poem is all about. And sometimes we don't realize, and whether you are believe in heaven, believe in hell, are atheist or agnostic or whatever you are, um, every once in a while it may come through to you that people are asking, or people are judging, or people are looking at what it is that you do. And so this is called the best poem in the world. Let's see what it says. It says, the best poem in the world. I was shocked, confused, and bewildered as it entered heaven's door, not by the beauty of it all, nor the lights or its decor, but it was the folks in heaven who made me sputter and gasp, the thieves, the liars, the sinners, the alcoholics, and the trash. There stood the kid from 7th grade who swiped my lunch money twice. Next to him was my old neighbor who never said anything nice. Bob, who I always thought was riding away in hell, was sitting pretty on cloud 9, looking incredibly well. I nudged Jesus. What's the deal? I would have loved to hear you say your take. How do all these sinners get up here? God must have made a mistake. And why is everyone so quiet, so somber? Give me a clue. Hush, child, he said. They're all in shock. No one thought they'd be seeing you. As you are judged, you will be. As you judge, you will be judged. And it does say, judge not. So it wasn't a real judge. It says, judge not. So I thought that this was cute. That it says, just remember that going to church doesn't make a Christian any more than standing at the garage door, which makes you a car. So the analysis is, we are judged. We are judged. We judge. Even if we say we don't, we do. We do, we do, we do. So I'm going to ask you this morning, have you been stuck in your judgments? Every once in a while, I'm not going to lie, I have. Should I do something? Should I not do it? That's my take on a decision, but it ultimately is a judgment. How much I want to pay for something. Do I want to go someplace? All those things. We judge every time we decide that we're going to, go this way or that, pay this or that, go here or there, all of it. So with judge, I have, it says, judge is a person who is supposed to be impartially decides or resolves a dispute or controversy. Sometimes we are the controversy. Good morning, Maurice. How are you? Today our word is judge. And it says that a judge, I'll read that over again. A judge is a person who impartially decides or resolves a dispute or controversy. It says they form an opinion or a conclusion about whatever it is. It says they can be the, adjudicator. They can be the arbitrator. They can be the referee. They can be the umpire. They can be the conciliator. They can be the go-between. They can be the peacemaker. They can be the troubleshooter or the decider. A lot of times we work from the bench of decision. We've made a decision. And other people do too. It's not just us. But that's the bench that we're comfortable on. We're not always worried about, do we want to get in the middle of something? Although some people do. They do it wholeheartedly and they're comfortable with it. Me, not so comfortable. I have to be honest. I probably would have been a good judge on the bench after the jury handled it, but I don't want to be the one that makes the sole decision about someone's fate unless I know, there's harm, there's a possibility of danger, or there's, fatality. I would probably be much more apt to get in the middle of it. But if it's just disputing over, going to the movies or going out to dinner, no big deal. It's like, okay, if y'all want to go there, you go there. So when I look at the word and I break it down, I start with my J. My J is, what is justice? What is it? Justice, it says, is the practice of giving to others what is their due, or instance of what it should be. It says that talks about equity, justify. That's really good because does it make sense? Because I'm always saying, well, does it make sense that we would do that? So it talks about equity, fair shake, giving somebody the right to do something. It says even-handedness, meaning that there's no sleight of hand, that no one got anything over someone else, that there was really somebody looking at it, with a way to say, I clearly see it's this and this. It also talks about fairness. When we look at justice, is it fair? Goodness, righteousness, virtue, honor, integrity, and uprightness. So justice, just like what Joan is saying, is justifying it. What does it make sense? Does it have worthiness to it? Is it fair? Is it fair? When we move further on in the world, for my you, I have understanding. I need to understand something. I just need to know that it makes sense. And I wasn't the one on the debate teams that was always holding up something, but I was the one always searching for clarity and what made sense. Sometimes we don't do that. We go with the majority, but we don't make our own decisions on asking questions about what doesn't make sense about what people are sitting on. Uphold. That's really good, because we do want to uphold the fairness of something, the rightness of something. And as I said, I had understanding. It says understanding is having the insight or good judgment. There you go, right there. Just looking at, is this good? Is this worthy? It says the ability to comprehend what is going on. It's the power of, it says it maybe, is there compassion there? Is there empathy? Is there humaneness about? And is there sympathy? So looking at something that may be sympathetic, humane, empathic, compassionate, and commiserative. So when you look at those words, it's all looking at, does it make sense? Can we get understanding out of this? Sometimes we can't. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I could ever be in a position where 95, 98% of my job is for me to do judgment. I think I like jobs where it's easy to be seen. If it's right, everybody knows it's right. The machine's working, the car's running, those kinds of things. So I'm going to the specialist for them. But if it's something that I'm doing and it requires me to make a decision, and people are giving me things that work into the final product, then I know if it's wrong, and I can go back and say, no, this particular thing is wrong. The judgment to me is how well it works. Is it working for what it's supposed to be working for? Is it was the money worth it that was put into it? All those kinds of things. Because many of us probably know, if you've gotten a car and taken it to the shop, and the shop has it for months and months and months, which is my last ordeal, and then they finally total it. Well, to me, there's judgment in there. What happened initially that they weren't able to see what was wrong, because other things ended up being, or taking front stage, when it ended up being something totally different that the car was ultimately totaled from. Once again, there's judgment in it, so judgment sometimes is costly. Either it costs you in time or in money, if we look at judgment correctly. When we move on in the word of judge, my D is for determination. I think anything that's being judged, you find that some people that are very, very, like if you see what's going on, in the Senate and the House right now, just how, sometimes one person who has made a decision that it's clearly that their judgment is of this nature. How do you get beyond that if you're trying to move, bills and move things forward, which wouldn't shut down the judgment? At some point in time, determination has to come from enough of the people that are working the issues to actually get things done. Debatable. Oh, I love that, because obviously, if we look at the House and the Senate, there's been debates that's gone on, probably open and closed door debates, and then actually the floor debates of them their own. But for my D of judgment says determination, which is the process of establishing something exactly by calculation or research, meaning sometimes we have to go back and figure out what went wrong in order for us to come to the determination of judgment. We have to go back before we can come forward. So that says that that's when you're really looking at calculation, defend. That's really good too. Uphold and defend. When we look at determination, we're looking at what was the calculation, what was the discovery, what did they find? A lot of times we've acted on stuff, there were no real findings. But yet and still, if you see a judge actually sentence somebody, now back in the day, I know that they didn't sentence some people fairly, but they're getting better. Where people may not get as long of time to serve, or they may be able to get off acquitted because other information, came out that actually defended them in a way that, as Joan just said, to make it where it was understandable. They understood it, and a determination could be made from that. But when we look at determination, determination also says how we can fix things. What was deducted from it in terms of what information came off of it, how was it diagnosed? Even when we look at our car, we know that good morning, Lisa, sweetie, how are you? Good to see you. Joan, Maurice, everybody in the place, thank you so much for coming. Today our word is judge. And sometimes we've been judges of things, and other people have judged us on things. And we sometimes have caution about doing something, of even making a move to start something, write a book or go back to school, or, begin a new business, only because we think we're going to be judged above our abilities. That's just the way it is. We're not. Sometimes we're just afraid to take the first step, and then the second step, and so forth and so on. Yes, that was what the sermon was about yesterday. Wow, that's right. Okay, there you go. So anyway, I'm on the first two, Lisa, to catch you up, was I have for judge, I have justice, what actually went on, what occurred, and understanding it in terms of the equity and the fairness of it. Understanding was the second word, having insight of how it all fell apart or fell together. Determination, making a decision as what comes next based on what was found. And my G in this instance is for guidance. How are we guiding ourselves and others if we're a part of a team? Sometimes teamwork is difficult. I worked in teams, and sometimes they're very difficult, because especially if you have somebody that may be holding out or not really contributing, then where's the guidance come from? If a team is not really, supposedly they're supposed to work together, and sometimes they have a team captain, sometimes they don't. And I found that the ones that don't have a team captain, you never are able to easily come to a head of how you go forward. Generalize, okay? Yeah, because that's what happens sometimes when we're in situations, things are generalized, and they don't really do a drill down. What really occurred, how did it occur, who was involved? So that's when guidance comes in. It says guidance is this advice or information aimed at resolving the problem. How do you break down the issues when you're working in a team, or you're working with a group of people, or how do you break it down for yourself if you feel that stepping out on anything that you want to do, you're going to be judged for it? I figure you're probably going to be judged anyway, like the movies, they do Rotten Tomatoes, and then they have book reviews, and you can maybe get on a bestseller list or something, when you're thinking about your goals. And sometimes it says, do not look at the goal being, ultimately determined by what happens based on somebody's opinion, just do it. Just do it. Do you. Find out and figure out what guidelines you're instilling in yourself. So I have guidance, which is advice and information aimed at resolving the problem of difficulty, especially by giving that from someone in authority. And that's why they go to a regular judge to make decisions about what happens to an individual who's committed a crime, or they want to get out of a marriage, or there's a, land issue or property issue. And that's why the judges, a system where a judge is there makes sense. It makes sense to me. So when we have something that we're really looking at that speaks to guidance, we're looking at who's advising everybody. Is the counsel wise? And I know in the Bible it talks about go to wise counsel. So it doesn't mean just go to your girlfriend or your guy friend. It means sometimes you have to go to somebody that really has researched the area and has that information within them that they can make a decision. So it says that guidance also is going to give direction, instruction, enlightenment. Sometimes we have to go outside ourselves in order to be betterly and more properly prepared for making decisions on our own. I think the first time I told somebody I was going to go back to get my doctorate, the person I was talking to, Kim, let everybody know what your dreams are or your determinations. And they were like, you don't need to do that. You already got a good job. What do you need that for? And it was hard for me to even explain because I wasn't expecting that response. It was hard for me to explain the fact that this was something I always wanted to do long before I got married. I had already had my bachelor's, my master's, and my EDS, which was heading straight up towards my doctorate, and all that before I was 20. All that was while I was 28. I got finished up all of that before I was 20. But then I got married, and so once you get married, your priorities change. And so with my priorities changing, I ended up obviously with a family, living out of country, and and a child. There was never an intention after that I could do that easily. So I didn't, So I waited until the child was near grown and I went back to school. See, sometimes you have to put off your judgment of yourself until the right judgment for you works. And that may be years down the road. That's not saying that you've lost the idea, the dream, the goal, the belief. It just says that sometimes we have to put off what we're doing. But for me, where I'm at in my life now, it's like I don't want to put off too much because I don't know. I don't have as many years in front of me that I know that are behind me. There's no way. Okay. There's no way that I could live that long, unless I'm related to or given, some kind of, what I would say, clothing from up above that's going to have me last like Methuselah. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Or Rip Van Winkle, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. But when we have guidance, it says that's when we may have hints or, inspiration, pointers, guidelines for ourselves, ideas that keep coming up. Because to me, the idea becomes great when you continue to keep it as something special to you. It's your idea. And I think I heard on television the other day, and I've probably heard it, but you cannot tell your ideas, your special, your goals, your dreams to everybody because, there's a thing they call, dream snatchers, that they basically tell you shouldn't be doing that. Do what you feel you have to do, what is before you. Don't worry about what someone is saying or what someone is not saying, because sometimes there's jealousy in what they say. There's frustration in what they say, anger for you or what you're doing. Don't listen to it. And therefore, sometimes that means don't put it out there. It's yours. Own it. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. So then we talk about guidance gives us leadership, management, and supervision. You are the leader of yourself. Okay, you're your own leader. You and whatever higher power you use, be it, Christianity, Judaism, you know, Quran, whatever you use, whatever, it's yours. You have that understanding of what the higher power says to you. So sometimes we do have to search to our higher power because we can't let the human power overpower us. Sometimes they are over there saying, here she come again. He come again with this nonsense. There's probably been a many a millionaire who's been able to look back on people who doubted them. A many a successful, author or singer or teacher or preacher, just because someone doubted them. Sometimes the human spirit is not kind of others. They're not willing to give you that. In fact, that's their playground. Don't give them anything to play in. Don't go out to play. Don't go out to play. Be serious about what it is that you want to do. My E, as I move forward in my word of judge, is equity. To me, equity is one of those words that really talks about fairness and not being partial, and being partial. Impartial is one of those things that just says, hey, we're not worried about them. It's like, wait a minute. I need you to be worried. I need you to be concerned. It says the equity of being fair and impartial. Objectivity, meaning whatever it is that you want, I want it for you. I want it for you. I'm not going to stand in your way. I don't want to educate. That's right. Educate is wonderful. And how often do we educate people? Edify. That's right. Raise it up. That's really good. It says like objectivity, balance, because sometimes you need a balance. You ever see the scale? They even talk about the scale of justice when they have judge, and the scale is off, and it should be balanced. And equity will be where it's balanced, where both sides are even. So like, to me, I want to stand in the middle of knowing what my pros and my cons are, my goods and my bads are, my ups and my downs are. That makes sense to me. That's my balance. Equity talks about it being justified, as it was said earlier by Joan. Fair, honesty, let me see, integrity. How many do you know that really shows you integrity? Some people do. Some people will never do it. Rightness, righteousness, and conscientiousness. I always love that word, conscientiousness. How conscious are we of others who are trying to do good in the world? Sometimes we're not. We are just not, and I find that to be something that runs along the lines of how people feel about themselves, of they can't judge you positively because they're dealing with their own negativity. Difficult to say, but I've seen it. And I said, well, why would they do that? And sometimes if you talk with them, you can hear it. Why would they even be involved in that? Why? Too old for that. I don't think it's ever too old for you to live your dreams. You only have one life. I only have one life, and the fact that someone talked me into taking my, in-person workshop to making it online. And, I don't know if it would ever, if I will ever gather the, a huge following. I know that people watch the videos later because I know I come on at a time, but I come at a time when I'm awake, I'm alert. And later on, that it could still run all during the rest of the day if someone wants to watch. But I look at my life as one where I want to give to others, and in order to do that, I have to put myself in a position where I'm giving. If I'm having an audience of one or two in my in the library, which is where I was working out of before. I would work in the libraries. That was what I was doing. But I'm looking at how I can, just continue to get out the word and, and expand in some aspect of, wisdom comes with older age. I'm old, but I think in some instances I might have a little wisdom with me. Grandma Moses was old. That's the truth. I don't know if I ever told you about Grandma Moses. We went to her works are in the Bennington Museum of Art in Vermont. And I was just, driving, because it's not far from Albany, New York. So I was driving up Route 4, heading into Bennington, and I went up there, and they said, we have Grandma Moses's, paintings. And it was so funny because my mother helped do this tour guide thing, which we didn't expect. And it certainly was one which was crazy. And people were following my mother and I, because my mother said, well, she couldn't believe. She said, well, who would paint pictures without faces? Grandma Moses. Who would have horses and all you could see was the top part of their legs, what they running on? That those kinds of things. But see, my mother was a person that if she didn't see it, then something was missing. Other people can imagine. And you're right, Joan. Grandma Moses was old, but Grandma Moses made money and received great recognition over the fact that she did her artwork the way she wanted to do it. My mother was a negative judge, okay? I love my mother, but she was a negative judge when you look at the fact that some people see art in different forms. That's us. Sometimes we see art, we see people in different forms, but we don't always have to be their judge. I think we all will be judged, but I don't think it should be personally that we decide that this person doesn't fit our paradigm, so therefore we're judging them. I try not to judge too much, but I know as probably a human thing, we all are probably going to judge something. But listen, for this day, I want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be conscious of if you're judging something that you don't have to. Let it be that people can live in the values that they've made, the decisions that they've made, and be all right. Now, if they ask you your opinion, then you're free reign. But if they're not asking your opinion, have a cup of tea. Enjoy your day. My daughter sometimes will ask me my opinion, and I tell her, and then she said, oh, well, all right. I said, well, you asked me, but I try not to judge her and what decisions she makes. We're all grown, Yeah, I always see her as a child, but she's grown now. She is grown. But I'm going to see you, it says, don't ask if you don't want an answer. Okay, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. I love Barbara. Oh, y'all, Barbara has chickens that she names. Okay, and they bring her fresh eggs. I don't want any eggs, Barbara. Thanks. Love you, though. But anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Enjoy your day, whatever you're going to do. And if you can, don't judge. Allow people to live their lives the way they want to. And hopefully they're not judging you. Hopefully. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate it. If you don't do anything else, hit that button that just says share and let it do what it do. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'll be back on Wednesday, 9 a.m. Central Time. We're getting ready to change into the fall time zone soon, which will be back on regular time. But anyway, I love you. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.